Okay, hi everyone. I'm Schahrzad Morgan, and with me is my friend Tranquility.
Hi
We
guys.
want we wanted to share with you a recent coaching session that we did together. So I am going to let her take the floor.
Okay. So as you guys know, I did a video pertaining to couldn't get over my ex, and I did I guess you could say a goodbye letter, but it wasn't for him, it was for me. But I still had a little bit, I was still kind of stuck, meaning I could not get past, I couldn't complete getting over him completely. Don't get me wrong, the letter was great. It lifted the weight off of me, but I was still stuck. And Schahrzad does coaching on the phone. If I could talk, that'd be great. She does coaching, and we had a session on the phone. And with visualization, I was able to go inside my body and release the rest of it that I was still hanging on to, but not trying to hang on to it, but it was still there. And she's great, by the way. Coaching, you want to have coaching with her. She's awesome. The visualization did it. It really did.
Yes, and so as we were talking about it too, I mean, it happened for you very quickly. Let me just explain for people very quickly how that goes. It's a technique, I think it's called somatic healing or guided imagery. And what it is, we identify the thing we're holding on to, which sometimes we don't know what we're holding on to. But once we identify it, then we can feel it as energy in our body, usually that people have been running from or rejecting or even numbing for all of their lives. And instead of doing all that, we allow it to be there and we go inside, either go inside of it or release it and replace it with light. And so like it's a whole new way because emotions are stored in the body, and thinking of it logically can take a really long time to get over, if ever. But imagery is stored in the subconscious, especially as children. Before we have language, we store these images and these sensations. By going into it, it releases. Now, this isn't a technique I made up. A lot of people use this technique, but I've been practicing it, using it with my friends and with my clients, and just to see what results they're getting. And people like really love the results because it releases it like permanently. So what I was asking Tranquility today was, you had this amazing experience. We were talking more about how it felt to do it, to let it go, and if she still felt better today, which is 2 days later, or if it was just like a momentary good feeling, like I felt some light and now I'm back to normal. So let's talk about both parts. Tranquility, if you wouldn't mind sharing what it was like for you to go inside that, what you went inside and what that was like and how you felt, just the actual doing the exercise.
Okay. So basically, it's, visualization. So Schahrzad had me close my eyes, and you have to be, I was laying down when I did it, and I made a conscious effort to release my body, just let it completely relax, even, make my arms limp, my legs limp, just give into it completely. And so that's what I did. Just focus. You gotta, you don't want to hear the phone ringing and the dog barking and everything else. Sorry. You just want to relax your whole body. So that's what I did. And when you close your eyes, you lose yourself to it in a good way. And what did you have me do? You said, go help me along.
Yes,
guys.
And I want to say it's very normal that you don't know, because even when I do it to myself, I don't know, because we turn off our mind and our logic, and we're just lost in our experience in our body. So I asked you, what is this uncomfortable feeling that you're having?
Right.
Where do you feel it in your body? And then you explained where you felt it in your body, and you were really in there. That's where you don't remember, because you were not thinking, you were feeling it. And then I said, are you willing to let it go? And you were. Do you remember that?
I felt it in my heart, because you asked me, where did I feel it? And I said, I feel it in my heart. And you said something about a wall. no, did I say that? There was something about a wall. Oh, that I had a wall around my heart or something, or I can't remember.
I would have to get my notes.
Okay.
Should I
Okay.
get my notes?
Yeah. Yeah. If you could do that, that'd be great.
Okay. All right.
We want to do this right, guys. And it was a great experience. So I would love for you all to have coaching with her, and I would love for you to experience this coaching session, because you're learning how to release things that even subconsciously you've been holding onto without realizing it, or even sometimes you do realize you're holding on to it.
Yes, and sometimes we don't know what the obstacle is, and sometimes it helps to have like these questions that kind of make you think, what is this thing that I'm holding on to? Yes. And with your permission, I will share that it is, yes, the solid wall around your heart.
Okay, right. And then I kind of closed my eyes and went into it. And you were saying, what were you saying to me? Because I remember saying, I see holes in the wall.
Yes.
Parts of the wall were dissipating.
Yes.
And then you said something about from the top of my head down.
Yes. Yeah. And then I was like, are you willing to let it go? Just let it go out to the top of your head, or let it just suck out. Like, are you willing to let it go?
Right.
And then imagine this, a big ball of light above your head with a pipeline, and all this light comes into your body, including that space where that wall was, just flooding your whole light.
Right. And it wasn't an instant. Everyone's reaction is going to be different. For me, I really, really was so eager to let it go. Let's get it done today, now, type deal. And so when I closed my eyes and did the visualization, I saw bits and pieces of that hard wall where I'm still holding on to those emotions. As I'm willing to let it go, I visualized holes in the wall where it's starting to dissipate. And it's just the most incredible thing. It really is. So it's dissipating, it's still there, but the holes, there's more and more holes. And almost like when a moth eats a sweater, puts holes in the sweater. It's kind of like that type of thing. And then eventually Schahrzad said, now replace that with light, a huge ball of light. So like I said, I kept my eyes closed the whole time. And I brought this light into my body, and I could feel it go in all the way down to where that pain is, where that stubbornness is. And I envisioned the light being brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And as it expands, it pushes those memories that I'm trying to get rid of, it pushes those right out. There's no room for the darkness and the emotions, and you're clinging on to it. There's no room for that, because the light replaces all of that and pushes the rest of it out.
Wow. As being on the phone with you when you were going through that was so awesome, because you were like, wow, you kept saying, wow, this is intense. Wow. And I knew you were like having a really good experience.
Yeah. And I didn't expect to cry afterwards, but I did. And I guess, society teaches women that crying is bad. If you cry, you better go to your doctor and get an antidepressant right now. Why? It's silly. Why? We have tear ducts, Like, what is the deal? That's a form of release. That's okay. That's okay. I don't need an antidepressant, okay? I need to cry and release it. I mean, I wasn't hysterical crying or anything like that, but I wasn't going to resist whatever happened. And I think that's the most important thing. And I want to share this example with you. I went to a support group a long time ago, and it was for people who were divorced. And it was almost like the same thing, but whatever emotions you're holding onto with that previous relationship, they say, write it on a piece of paper. We're going to give you a piece of paper, write down the memories that are stuck in your mind, and, just whatever comes to your mind, just write it down. And when you're ready to completely let it go, get up from your seat, fold that paper up, get up from your seat, and drop it in the trash can. Well, some people were reluctant to go up and put their paper in the trash can.
Mm.
You know, like they're still holding on, and throwing it away symbolizes you're out of here. That's the past. I'm done. But I don't think I hesitated, maybe for a few minutes, but then I was like, yeah, I gotta,
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That's an interesting point about letting it go, because you were so willing and you knew what that emotion was in your body. You could pull it up right away, and
Right.
you were already like not wanting it. So you did it very quickly. But sometimes people don't want to let it go, because for me, I didn't want to let go of my anger against my ex-husband because I felt I was so wronged, you know. I
Right.
finally had to get to the point where I was just tired of it.
Exactly. Perfect.
Or
Exactly.
sometimes people, and if there are people who've been abused as children, I'm not going to say they have to let it go. I think there are other steps to take first. Like, you build these walls to protect yourself and to
Right.
just allow them and love those walls. Instead of, I don't like to force people to let it go. I think people have to want to let it go. And I think people, if anyone's watching this who doesn't want to let it go, I think we want to honor you for being really good at having good defense mechanisms that protect you. I think people get to a point where they feel it's safe. They don't, or it's more of a burden than a help. And I think that's where you were with it, and you were just like ready to pull it up. But if anybody watching, just realize when you're feeling an emotion that it's in your body. Now, tranquility, when people wrote those things down, that was more on the intellectual level rather than on the physical level. And I'm just wondering how effective that was for people. Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. That I don't know. But it's kind of, even if the people, you're not married to this person, if it's your first love, that's the hardest one to let go of, because it's such a big deal in your life. You know what I mean? And especially when it's not reciprocal. I'm not down for the one way, I still have feelings for you business. I'm done with this. Okay. Let's do the let's do the reciprocal two-way love. Let's try that for a change. That'd be nice. So even though sometimes we convince ourselves that we've let it go, that was a long time ago, I'm fine now, this person's moved on with their life, but subconsciously and even consciously, you're still holding on to things that you don't realize you're still holding on to. And when it's not, we convince ourselves that, well, I'm going to put this wall up. I'm going to protect my heart. Nobody's going to hurt me like this again. But that can prevent a good person from having the patience. I mean, they're going to try to get to know you. They're going to say, hey, I see a lot of special things in you, and I want to get to know you. But after a while, they might feel like, I feel like you're not totally with me, like you're physically here, but you're not mentally with me, because you're still holding on to things. And, they may not want to karate chop the wall down. So in one way, it serves to protect us, kind of, but it can also serve as, something that pushes someone away who doesn't have like a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to help you work past the wall. They want to meet you where you are, but they want you to be receptive to them and what they feel for you. So it doesn't always help. Sometimes it's a lot more painful than it is good. So.
Yeah, like what would you say to people? What would you say to people that maybe they put their walls up already in childhood? A lot of people had very difficult childhoods, and their walls didn't come later in life from a relationship. They came in childhood. And I think that it can be scary to let down those walls because they never felt safe. The wall is the only thing they have that lets them feel safe. And then to make that transition, well, I needed those walls as a child, but now I'm an adult, I don't, but they don't feel safe. Like if I don't keep up my walls around men or around women, even people that had like bad mothers who might have walls around having female friends, if I don't keep those walls up, people will hurt me. I wonder if you have like any personal insights into that journey to feel safe enough to even let the walls down.
That is a really good point, because I grew up in a very unsafe home. extreme abuse, stabbing, you know. It's just, I compare it to like a war zone. You never know when something's going to hit the fan. So, but I was fortunate. I'm not going to say it didn't take me a long time to get past the worst of it. And even when I was in the middle of it, I'm always in fight or flight mode. So there's never a time to process anything. Number one, this is normal because this is how I grew up. So when you're a kid, that's normal to you. And your family keeps you isolated from other people. So you have nothing to compare it to. So you think that everything you're going through is pretty much normal, no matter how chaotic it is, it's normal. But as I got older and I started developing connections with my friends and my friends' family, their family would become my family. So it was like a surrogate family in a way. And so I get to see what it's supposed to look like. We care about each other. You know, when you leave our house, you're driving to such and such. Call us when you get there so we know that you're okay. And it was refreshing to experience that for the first time in my life, because I didn't experience that until probably in my 20s, maybe 20-ish, later 20s, something like that. And it was nice to have somebody care. At first I was resistant to it because I'm like, I never had parents. I don't really need one now. I never had a mother. I don't really need one now. And I told that to my godmother when I was visiting them in North Carolina. And I didn't mean to sound mean or anything, but I said, she wanted to be like a surrogate mother. And I said, I don't need a mother. And that probably sounded really harsh, but I explained. She said, well, what do you need? And I said, probably a big sister. She said, I could do that. I could do that. You know what I mean? Because I almost felt like I raised myself in a way. Well, God raised me. But aside from that, I felt like I didn't have anybody. So to have a mother all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But big sister would work. Yeah, well, I'll take that. You know, but I can understand. It's when I look back at what I went through, it blows my mind that I survived it. You know, even my mother's, I hate to say her my mother because she really wasn't ever a mother to me. Her best friend who worked with troubled kids, she knew what I went through because I told her. And she said, she was real quiet on the phone. And I said, what? She said, I'm just blown away because you're not a drug head. You're not a criminal. You're not in and out of jail constantly. And because she worked with troubled kids that were into all of that, you know, teen pregnancy and drugs and breaking the law. And she was just amazed that I wasn't caught up in that, which I easily could have gotten caught up in that. So a lot of miracles.
Yeah, you're such a kind, uplifting, positive, joyous person.
I try to be.
I would love to hear you. And by the way, everyone, Tranquility has her own YouTube channel, which I'm subscribed to. It would be awesome. I would love to hear you share. I mean, just an interesting topic for a video, how you transformed yourself from that childhood into this person. I also want to ask you one more thing that's related to this video we're making now, which was like, okay, you went inside, because usually what people want to do, they're either not aware that their wounds are in their body, so they just stay stuck there. But if they do notice it, usually when people feel triggered or reactive or angry, they're like, I judge myself for it. I shouldn't be angry. I should be nice to people. Why did I get upset? I judge myself, or I try to distract myself. Maybe I'll watch a movie, or maybe I'll do this. I try to push it away. I shouldn't have this feeling. So what we do in this, we actually go into it to release it. So that's what we did. And now the second question was that, well, why did we even do it? Was it just like a fun exercise, or is there actually like a benefit? Is it actually released? And then is my life going to be different going forward? Which, right. In my experience, it is. And I've been talking about Melanie Tanya Evans, who wrote the book on recovering from narcissists and codependency. She has 10 exercises for healing trauma, and this is the first one, releasing these wounds. And tens of thousands of people have recovered and left narcissists and lived like very happy lives. So I'm really sure that it works, but let's just share like your personal experience. And I don't want to put in a leading question because let's consider that maybe it didn't do anything at all. Let's just be very objective.
Right. It was, well, I'll tell you what the first process is for me to get better was I had reached out to him recently and he ignored me. And he's been ignoring me ever since we broke up because his ego got hurt. And, you know, so I reached out to him and he completely blew me off. And that was the first time that I'd actually gotten pissed off. You know? I always had hope prior to that, regardless of how many years had passed. One day, you know, he'll respond, and one day we'll go to counseling and we'll start, you know, all over again. And it's a fantasy in my head. Somebody had wrote this online and it's a powerful statement. Let me see if I can get it right. Don't make a man tell you twice that he doesn't want you. That's deep. I needed that message a long time ago. But anyway, I had hope. I had hope. And when he didn't respond, and this was like my 1 billionth time of trying to get him to respond, then the self-love has to come in at some point. I deserve better. I don't have to chase you down. I don't have to chase anybody down. I am worth being loved. I don't need to chase you. And I'm done. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm done. Plus you ignored me. That's it. Final straw. So yeah, I was more than eager to, you know, to let it go, be gone. You know, I know one time Oprah said, you know, you're holding a grudge on somebody and you hold on to it and you're angry, and every time you see them, you're triggered. And what you have to understand is they're not thinking about you. They're taking their kid to daycare, or they're going to the grocery store, or they're whatever, they're cutting their grass or whatever they're doing. You're holding on to this anger and they're moving on with their life. They're not thinking about you. And that sounds really harsh, but sometimes we need that smack, you know, not literally, but you know, that emotional smack. They're going to move on with their life. Stop holding on to that. They're not thinking about you. You got to do for you now, you know, and that's another part of this healing process. It's time for me to do for me.
So, so I'm not sure, let's see. So I wanted to know if after you let go of this anger against him, if you perceive him differently, if your expectations of him are different, if you feel different, or if everything seems the same, but you just had like a really nice, peaceful experience.
No. I saw him in my Instagram feed. You know, it shows you places that you've gone. And I saw him, his profile popped up and I had no emotions about it. I just deleted it and moved on.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, when that happened, did you go, oh, that's different? Or did you even notice that you were responding differently?
No, I don't know. For the first time, I didn't feel hope and clinging to this false whatever. I just deleted it like, yeah, I don't need to see that anymore. You know?
That's actually, so that's actually like, I don't want to say like a testimonial to what happens when things are cleared up. It's not like you notice it, but when you reacted and just thought I didn't need to see it, you might not even have realized. Oh,
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Because what happens is you don't have to try to ignore it. Like there's this internal shift, and now you're like, but I think that's when maybe by me asking you, it's making you realize, oh, a week ago, before I let go of this anger, I might have still looked for him to
respond,
get complete with me, have some kind of a closure conversation. Right. I had this video is about you, but I just want to throw in, I had something similar. I wanted my ex-husband to have a closure conversation with me, even though I knew that he never wanted to discuss anything when we were married, and he still didn't want to do it now, but I still kept thinking he owed this to me, you know. So I had to go inside myself and be like this, and feel this thing that I was wanting from him and let that go. And now I feel very indifferent about it. Like, I don't care. I don't need it anymore. But still, the thing that has remained for me is I still do not want to be friends or do dinners with the kids, like kumbaya. Like, I still don't want to be friendly
Right.
with him because I don't want to be friends with people like that. But I no longer, this whole hook that he needs to forgive me all of a sudden just left.
Did you do this experience or did you do something different for
Yeah,
you?
it was like that. Now in the book, Melanie Evans has like 10 different things. Some of them you ask yourself, she has prompts that make you find wounds. Like, the reason if I think about forgiving this person, what am I really losing? Or I don't remember all the questions, and I had to go into that. It had to do with not holding him accountable or holding myself accountable or something. I don't remember the exercise. And I did this last week, and as soon as I did it, the next day I'm like, I don't really care anymore about him getting complete with me and telling me all the things that he never told me. Because I had wanted him to tell me all the things he was mad at me about, because he never complained about anything, but he seemed
Right.
angry. And I kept
Yeah.
wanting him to tell me how he felt, and he never would. And even after, though we were 8 years divorced, I was still.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, my sister was like, Schahrzad, he's never going to tell you. You just got to move on. Like, I know, but I can't. I still feel like he should. And then when I went inside of it, it was just gone. But I still, and this is what I want people to know, just because the charge is gone doesn't mean I want to be friends with him. I still don't. But I
Right.
no longer feel like he owes me, so I'm freer to go around the world.
Yeah. And here's another thing that's a key point, and some people may not want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When you are going through a period of growth in your life and you're eliminating bad things so you can open up for the good things, and you're just doing this transformation, kind of like a caterpillar and a butterfly. That's the best way I could, you're in the process of becoming that butterfly. I think it's important to stay single during that time so that you're not distracted by someone else, and you're not using someone else as an emotional crutch to prevent you from going where you don't want to go because it's uncomfortable emotionally. Does that make sense?
That. Yes.
Stay single, date yourself, go out with yourself, have a candlelight, bubble bath to yourself, snuggle up with a glass of wine and a good book. It's time for you to love you, especially for women, because we give so freaking much to the point where if you give too much, there's nothing left for you. And then you get angry and resentful and you snap at your kids and they're looking at you like, what the hell? We just have to not date. Just not date for a while. This is your time to focus on you and where you want to be, where, get rid of do the spring cleaning, since it's springtime, supposedly, even though it snowed today. Anyway, but spring cleaning, you got to do that emotional and spiritual spring cleaning. And like a teacher erases the chalkboard, we need to erase the chalkboard. And during the erase, we're cleaning things up and getting rid of them. And you don't want a distraction from someone else.
I love that. Yeah. What advice would you give? What advice would you give to people who don't want to be alone, or for whom they think I can't give up looking for a man because, and that's, I think there's some social programming around. There is social programming in the whole world. Like, I will meet the one that will make me complete. And give me all the things that I need, but he's whole. He's not broken, looking for me to fill all his broken pieces. It's like this fantasy. Like, how do we blow up this ridiculous fantasy that has people looking like, if I can just get this guy, my life will be complete? Because it never is. The more you need someone, the less it's complete when you get them, right? But how do you undo that hook of this fantasy? It's almost like a little child thinking, if mommy would just hold me, I'd be happy. And then then we're just adults, but we're really little babies wanting mommy, but we're looking for the guy. I don't know, it seems similar, but how do you undo that hook?
That's You got some great questions. You know that?
I don't want to put you on the spot because this is like the
No, no, no.
quintessential, like,
No, it makes a lot of sense because it's kind of like if I only syndrome. If I only get that car that I've always wanted, if I only make a little bit more money, if I only get a second job, if I only get a husband or wife, if I only. But the thing of it is, because sometimes we have a small attention span, once we get that, we're happy. We're like a little kid. We're happy for like 10 minutes, it seems like, and then we need something else, something else, and something else.
that's
So,
true.
so we have to be happy with what's in here because every time we use external things, we're high from attaining those things, but they don't have the ability to heal us. They don't have
I
the ability
love
to
that.
heal us.
You're so wise.
Well, I've read a lot and I've learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes along the way. So
Yeah, we have to heal ourselves. I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, we
oh
okay.
no,
Mhm.
no, but yeah, if I only, I'm going to give you a perfect example. And obviously not everybody has a personality disorder. This is just an example. So I had a friend he has all the symptoms of borderline personality disorder in addition to narcissism. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or anything like that, but he has all of the symptoms. And he had the over romanticized view of if I get married again, my life will be perfect. I know if I just get the third wife, because he was married 2 times before. And I said, I wasn't trying to be harsh, but I said to him, I said, marriage isn't the key because you've been married twice and I was married twice. That wasn't the magic. That wasn't the magic to fix us. So what he needed was therapy and he needed medication. I think he could benefit from both of those, but as long as you're looking for external things to make you happy, you're a gerbil on a wheel and you're just running and running and faster and harder. And you're just exhausting the heck out of yourself and you're not getting anywhere. So if you do the same thing the same way, expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. You've got to erase the outside noise, whatever that noise is. You never got over your parents getting divorced or your dog died. Believe it or not, some people bottom out when their pet dies. You have to get rid of the external in order to focus on the internal. Once you focus on the internal and find out you have to face those pains, there's no way around it. It's not like you're riding a bike and you don't have to take the main drag. You could cut through buildings. Therapy doesn't work like that. And getting healing doesn't work like that. You can't just get on your bike and dart between these 2 buildings. You have to face the pain. And I think we talked about this before. I read this on Instagram. People don't want to change themselves. They want to change their partner. Right? Yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You've got to fall in love with yourself. And I just want to say something else before I forget, because I'm a little bit senile sometimes. But anyway, for a person who they can't handle being alone, I say practice being alone. And what I mean by that is do something you've never done before. Find out what time the matinee is in your town. If you got a social thing, like you don't like being around other people and
I love that.
just you're a homebody or whatever, practice in baby steps. Take yourself to lunch. Go see a matinee, okay? I used to go to the restaurant by myself and bring a Cosmo magazine. I had a date with Cosmo magazine, and it always made me laugh. There was always something in there that made me laugh. So if we practice baby steps, being alone with ourselves, we'll be able to be alone with ourselves, fall in love with ourselves, and go deep, regardless of the pain, regardless of the anger it brings up, regardless of the tears. We have to practice being alone with ourselves so that we can be completely alone with ourselves, mentally and physically and spiritually and all of that.
I really like that. I could see, that helps me even because sometimes I think I want a man to come along because I'm bored with my life and I need something new, but why don't I give myself some newness?
That's right. Get a pedicure, get a manicure. I mean, you're worth it, just little tiny baby steps. Another thing that we have to do, especially as women and some men, but especially us, because we want to give everybody everything, which is ridiculous because you got to give to yourself at some point. we have to learn how to have boundaries. So when you tell your friend, I'd love to hang out with you today, but I don't feel well, can we do it Friday? And that person throws a hissy fit. They're not being considerate of how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to reevaluate this person as a friend? Because y'all have to be considerate of each other's feelings. If I say, Schahrzad, let's do something on video today, and you're like, I need more time to prepare, why don't we do it Friday? Then I need to get over it. We do it Friday. If I have a fit, you're going to get mad and say, well, I'm not going to do it with you because I don't like your attitude. You see what I'm saying? We have to have boundaries, and people need to respect those boundaries. You don't have to tell everybody yes. You don't have to do that. They have to respect your boundaries. You have to respect their boundaries. That's part of self-love too, you know?
Yes, yes. I think that healthy people do respect boundaries. I do appreciate when people give me their boundaries. And a nice thing to say is to just thank the person for taking care of themselves. I want to ask something else though too. Let's see, I know I went way off topic going on this video, but like sometimes people want their partner to change. I think I wanted my partner to change because I was really unhappy in that relationship and I didn't ever consider leaving. I never considered leaving. I'm like, we're married, so he's got to change to be a good husband. I never considered leaving. And when I was very upset with how I felt about it, I was trying to figure out how to deal with my feelings. And that's why I do what I do. I want to throw that in real quick because those were really hard years in my life. And I was going to seeing this therapist or this counselor a couple of times at Kaiser, and I was asking her what to do. And she didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know what to do. And then this other therapist I went to, she wanted me to take Valium. So I took a Valium once. It didn't help me feel better. It didn't even numb my pain. And I was in so much pain at that time. I kept imagining that someone would hit me over the head with a frying pan and knock me out so I wouldn't have to feel all this pain. And you know what that pain was now? I know what it was now. It was the pain of being abandoned or ignored. It was the pain of being ignored or neglected, kind of maybe like a little baby is. I don't know. And I didn't know how to deal with it at all. It took me years, and now we're 10 years later, and I figured out how to deal with it is by feeling it in the body and going inside of it, or be willing to let it go and replace it with white light. And that's why I love these techniques so much, because I think they're just a short circuit to eliminating pain, like horrible pain.
And we're not going to change our partner unless they want to change. And that's a really hard thing. We get to, like with me, I would talk and talk and talk, and it would go one ear out the other. Now, since you're not listening, I start raising my voice, and now I'm screaming at you, and I want to chuck a glass at your head because I'm sick and tired of telling you the same thing. That's not, we have to have positive communication. But that's why I think we should date for a long time, because you're going to see them at their best, their worst, mediocre times. We're going to see them at all of their emotional whatever scale or whatever you want to call it. We'll see the best and the worst, and then you can decide, do I want to deal with this? And then sometimes people get complacent. I've married you, so I don't have to be romantic anymore. I don't have to put the effort in anymore. When I come home, you're going to be there. That's a dangerous mentality, because you might come home to an empty house. Okay, so complacency is not good. You know what I mean? But yeah, I felt abandoned in both my marriages. I felt emotionally abandoned also, and talking was useless. Just, the person, they weren't receptive.
Yeah, I felt emotionally abandoned too. And so that's some of the different nuances of that I want to go into, because right now I'm afraid to date. I do very good with friendships. I didn't get needy with my ex-husband until the very end, when I started like really being emotionally open to him. And so I'm a little bit afraid, because sometimes if I like a guy, I start thinking about him a lot. And when I start thinking about him, the moment I start thinking about him and how great the date was, I'm no longer present here. I've abandoned myself. See, now I'm not dating anyone. I'm just I'm present with you. I'm seeing my furniture. You know, I'm looking at this book. But when I like a guy, I'm not here at all. I'm gone. I'm in my head about how great he is, and that scares the hell out of me. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to do it anymore. I do not like the high of a new romance thing because it's like abandoning myself and all of that. And so I'm trying to heal some of this, and that's why I'm doing all this. Not because I've turned the corner on it. I'm kind of afraid of dating and losing myself in that way. I don't ever want to lose myself again.
I think what you're saying is that's imperative, because you know how we're girly and we're like, oh my God, he called me, you know, and we're telling our girlfriends, you know, and we do lose ourselves. So the main word that comes into my mind when you're saying that is balance. Yes, you can be, you know, excited and happy that, you know, everything, you're high after the date and you're tickled that he, you know, I just want to call to hear your voice. I'm glad we had a great date, you know, and you could be high and buzzed and whatever, but then you got to bring your feet back down to the ground and just take each moment as it comes. And that's where the balance comes in. And that's tricky for us. As women, that's tricky, but we have to learn about.
I love that. By the way, you guys that are watching, Tranquility and I, we sometimes have phone calls, you know, or we email each other. So I just love how you share and what you know in your heart. I have to go. I have a coaching client coming up. So I need to end our video call.
Thank you so much, Schahrzad. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching.
And for those of you watching, look in the description. I'll put Tranquility's YouTube channel below so you can go check her out. If you want to contact either of us, you can. And thank you for watching our video.
Thank you, sweetie. I'll talk to you next time.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.